Hey, Arrow, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. How about you?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here.
Dude, I'm excited to talk with you because I'll tell you what you guys are doing with The Chosen, it's taking what I've learned and studied with my own pastor, Stephen Furtick of Elevation, and you give it depth. It's almost like you put motion in the stories that they're sharing.
100%. I will say that's full credit to the writers. That's full credit to Dallas, Tyler, and Ryan. What they've done so beautifully is they've really flushed out these characters to make them human beings. Normally I feel like when people are, if they know about this story or they've studied it or whatever it is, they tend to look at these figures as above them. They're saints, they're images on stained glass windows. But what The Chosen has done so beautifully is they've flipped the script and they've brought them down to the audience's level. They're people with. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it is at our level because we get to see them in motion and it's not an interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these are people with hopes and dreams. They're people that have genuine love for one another. They're people that struggle with anxiety. They struggle with vying for power amongst one another, jealousy. I mean, these are all superhuman things that we can relate to. And I mean, I've had a lot of people contact me or DM me, and same with my other castmates, and they'll send us messages saying, I see myself in Thomas.
Yes.
With what he has gone through in season 4, or people would DM Lada, who plays Eden, and they would say, I had a miscarriage, the same way Eden did in season 3, and I've never had anyone to talk to about that, and I see myself in her. So it's been such a wonderful thing.
And don't you think that one of our connections, I mean, when you really kind of peel things back a bit, one of the reasons why we are connected to The Chosen for all of these seasons is because you're not dealing with the internet. There's no digital devices. It is a realm of reality when it comes to life, and we can tap into it because they're dealing with life where today we run from life.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, although there are some positives to technology that we have nowadays, there's definitely an element of wanting to disappear, particularly with social media and stuff like that. And here's this TV show that is a time period where you can't really escape things. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of poverty. You've got Romans at every corner, waiting to kill you with any sort of excuse. And at the same time, they're all just trying to survive. But here comes this guy that tells them he's going to save them and he has bigger plans for them. And it's so cool to see how everyone jumps in wholeheartedly and really wants to fight to make it right, to make their society better. They talk about that a lot during the show, is they're always wanting, their home and their people to be greater than what they are right now.
What's very warm about The Chosen is the fact that it doesn't matter where you are on the religious map or who you study with or what your denomination is, we can all talk about it. And I find myself in those conversations with people where it was like, I ain't talking religion with you, but yet you can talk about The Chosen.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You hit the nail on the head, Arrow. I mean, regardless of your faith background or your belief system or anything like that, at the end of the day, this is a story about human beings. And I think that's what's given the show so much success is, again, they just see themselves in these characters. And also for people that are from those types of backgrounds, I've noticed that it's really changed their perspective a lot. They've been able to identify with things in a much deeper and more specific way, and I think it's hitting home for a lot of people.
I would love to be in that writing room, and the reason why is because they are so spot on when it comes to continuity, and that right there takes conversation. So I would love to be a part of a team like that where it's like, guys, let's talk about this before we deliver it to the actors.
Absolutely. I know. I mean, I would also love to be a part of those writing rooms and see how they make it. But whenever we get the scripts before the season, I mean, it's each season gets better than the next, and you really do see how they want to flush out the storyline of characters. Thomas, for example, in season 4, up until that point, from seasons 1 through 3, we're building up to this sort of romance that he has with Rayma, and he's becoming more confident and he's getting out of his worrisome type of personality into something a little braver and more fun. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, season 4 hits and he goes through this extremely traumatic event, and the entire course of his life has completely changed. And you can kind of see how that, sets into motion this idea of where the doubt comes from for Thomas. And to me, that's a really wonderful example of how the writers have taken, a very brief line in text and flushed it out to this thing that people can connect to on a human level.
Joey, there's a doubter in each and every one of us, and doubting Thomas is somebody that we can all really kind of nestle up to and ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been so wonderful to be getting messages from fans, and they're saying things like, "I really see myself in Thomas."
Yeah.
I've been struggling with this aspect of my life, and because of Thomas's story, I feel like I've been able to maybe confront it or heal a little bit more, or maybe I'm still struggling, but now have the courage to start moving forward. And that's why we do what we do as actors and artists. We want to affect humanity in a way to where they feel seen. And I think The Chosen has done that successfully.
Would you ever want to see this up on the big screen? Only because, I mean, the drama and the quality is there for the big screen, or is it one of those where it's about a personal relationship and that can be at home?
I mean, we've definitely had it up on the big screen, which has been so cool to see. We released the show before we release it to streaming. We always tend to release like 2 or 3 episodes at a time in movie theaters.
Wow.
And I have gone to those screenings before whenever we've done our premieres, and it's a different vibe to be able to hear the audience react to certain things, or they'll laugh in moments that you didn't even think were funny, or they'll get emotional during stuff that maybe you thought wasn't emotional. I mean, it's truly a really lovely thing, but it's also, I think it can be consumed in any type of way with the family at home, with your friends, on TV, or even just yourself watching on your phone. Either way, it still works and people feel connected to it.
I'm one of those people that will study body movements as well as eye language when it comes to my actors on that flat screen TV. I want to say that you guys all get along in real life. This is not just an acting job. You guys have a real physical family atmosphere.
That's completely accurate, Arrow.
Wow.
Yeah, all of us when we came on to the show, I mean, for some reason we all just really connected. I think a lot of us have similar interests, and we're all relatively similar in age and whatnot. And it's basically like a family on the set, because we're always joking around with each other, and even when we're not shooting, we all live in fairly similar cities, to the point where we're like, hey, you want to go grab lunch? You want to go grab a bite? And I do think the fans see that being translated onto the screen as well. It feels like it's less work that we have to do to connect with one another, because there's this established trust, and it's been such a wonderful journey to be with these people.
To make that transition to go from the set to the real world, mentally and physically, how do you deal with that? Because even as a radio jock, it's hard for me to go from being inside a studio out into the real world, because we're all about theater of the mind.
Yeah. Right, of course. I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is what we get paid to do. This is what we've been training for. We have to be able to shut it off once we leave. I remember many years ago, a teacher once said to me, if you're not turning it off once you're leaving the set, then there might be some other issues that are there that maybe you should be looking at, or whatever. But at the end of the day, we have to remember that we are playing house for a living. You know what I mean? So what we do is for entertainment, and while it might be affecting people in a very real way, which I love, we have to be able to turn it off once we leave. Some days might be a little bit harder than others, because they can be pretty physically grueling and exhausting sometimes, filming in the heat and the cold and all that kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, once we walk out of there, we're immediately like, hey, you guys want to go grab some Raising Cane's chicken, or go grab a bite or something like that, and we're good to go.
Well, because every musician will tell you that they're not singing lyrics, they're actually bringing that song out, because they're living those words. It's got to be the same thing for the actors on The Chosen, is that you're not just spitting out some lines. I mean, you guys are really delivering that message.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you have a full life that's happening, which is why TV shows and movies affect people the way they do. The actors and performers really have to believe that they are this person, and that they are really in these circumstances. Yeah. That's why actresses like Viola Davis are so good, because you never feel like they're phoning it in, or rest in peace, like Philip Seymour Hoffman, for example, was incredible at doing that. You never felt like they were acting, and hopefully we're doing the same thing for the audience, to where they believe it to a point of actually thinking we are these people.
Do you think the creators of the show, the writers as well as the actors, are pioneers in this business? Because I have never heard of a television show that has its own app. Is this, I mean, this is outreach right here. When you've got your own app and anybody can get on it at any time and stay caught up.
Absolutely. I think it's something that is so unique. And my feeling is this will change the industry eventually. I don't know in how many years, but I mean, to have a show that streams exclusively on its own app is pretty wild, and to do it for free, you know what I mean? To have people have this sort of pay it forward system that we have had, to where if you really feel affected by the show, you can donate to make it free for other people in different parts of the world. I mean, it's unheard of. No one has ever done anything like this.
Well, once again, it's outreach. This to me is dropping the four walls of the church and stepping onto the streets of the real everyday guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I think such a gift to give to people, you know. And luckily the show has affected people in such a way that we are now being streamed on other platforms. I mean, we have season 4 that's being released on the CW starting September 1st. And the show is the Come and See Foundation, who we worked with, are looking to translate the show into 600 languages.
Wow.
And keep that accessible to people. So it truly is a completely different beast from anything that I've personally seen in Hollywood.
Well, and kudos to CW, because in reality, if you go back through television history, a show like The Chosen was pretty much a CBS-driven show. But man, for the CW to step up and do what they're doing, I'm proud of that network for doing that.
It's been really, really great. I mean, they streamed season 3 for us last time when they picked it up, and now it's great that we have season 4 picked up as well. They're wonderful, and it's been really exciting, and I'm curious to see the reactions to anyone watching it on the CW, whether you're going to be a first-time watcher or whether you're returning and watching it for the 10th time, which that's not an exaggeration. We've definitely had fans message us and be like, I'm on my 10th rewatch, which is pretty wild, you know?
As that actor, how do you prepare for each episode? Because each one has a storyline, but it also has a different emotion.
Yeah, honestly, it's full credit to the writers, in my opinion. They write it so wonderfully, and they make it a lot easier to be able to connect to these people as human beings. So full credit goes to them. One of the fun things about working on the show is we usually tend to shoot out of order. So some days you'll be shooting something from episode 7, and then the next day you could be shooting something from the intro of the show. And it's a fun challenge because you sort of have to remember where you are in the trajectory of the storyline. You know, you could be feeling a certain type of way in episode 1 and be completely different by episode 2. So it's a fun challenge to be able to remember that kind of stuff.
That freaks me out, and the reason why is because when it comes to acting like that, if you were on the stage, you couldn't do that. You know, do different episodes at different times. And so, I mean, to see that you guys are doing that, you would have to just, I guess, trust. You know, relinquishing your acting skills. It's like, okay, I trust you. This is our scene. Let's go.
That's absolutely it. There's definitely pros and cons to doing either or. You know, I came from a background of theater, and I love doing it, and I still want to continue to pursue it and do it. But with that, just like you're saying, Arrow, you're starting from point A and going all the way to point Z. It's a linear trajectory. Whereas, and that could be really fun, you know. And then you have the opposite end of the spectrum with film and TV, where you can do anything at any time. I remember watching an interview with Rami Malek when he did Bohemian Rhapsody, and I think he mentioned that the first day of shooting was the massive concert that Queen did, where it had like over 1 million people. That was his first day of shooting. You know, like, that's pretty crazy. I mean, he didn't have time to rev up into it or anything like that. He just has to go and be Freddie Mercury, and it can be daunting sometimes, but it can also be extremely thrilling and fun. So I love that aspect of it.
You know, you talking about how you came from that live stage, that explains a lot why I can be in the kitchen listening to the show and feel your lines reach me, because you know how to reach that person that's up there in the nosebleed section by projecting and by being present.
That's really, really kind of you to say. And you know, at the end of the day, I just hope people have been enjoying the performances and that the show is affecting them in some kind of way. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see what the rest of the show has for us.
But you know what, though? You talk about that performance, but I think they're loving the story, too. I think they're really getting into the storyline, because now they feel like, well, this could be my weekly dose of, I went to church today. I saw The Chosen.
Yeah, absolutely. And even for people that don't come from those belief systems or faith backgrounds or anything, I mean, regardless of what you do believe, at the end of the day, it's a show about human beings, and these human beings go through the exact same things that you and I do. I mean, they have hopes and dreams and love and desire, and they also have, jealousy. They vie for power between one another. They have insecurities and anxieties and all this kinds of stuff. And I think that's what has made The Chosen so successful, is people just really feel like they can connect to these characters.
As an actor, do you go back and study people like Michael Landon and Angela Lansbury, who also did stories like this, not like The Chosen, but the stories that have a deeper purpose?
Honestly, I think you can find a deeper purpose in any sort of movie or TV show that you watch. I mean, there's a reason a movie like E.T. can affect people in such an emotional way. You know what I mean? Like, I remember watching that as a kid and feeling really moved by that, because it's about the human experience. It would be the same thing for watching Game of Thrones. I mean, the reason it was such a popular show at that time is because it related to the human experience, and the writing was so phenomenal. So I think anytime you get a project that has a high caliber of writing, directing, acting, set design, everything coming together in a really kind of symphony in a beautiful way, it's going to be successful, and people are going to relate to it no matter what the subject matter is.
Do you find yourself getting into acting in the way of directing and writing? Because, I mean, you're on such a powerful stage now. It's like, I would love to direct one of these episodes.
I would love to do that. I think Dallas is holding on to these episodes, very, very strongly, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be the only one to do it all the way through season 7. But absolutely, I mean, being on the show has really, really sparked my interest in directing a lot. I don't know why, but I kind of equate it similarly to NFL coaching or sports coaching in some kind of way. Like, anytime I've been watching sports, I've been now seeing it from the perspective of, okay, why are they in this formation, or why did the coach run this play? I don't know. There's something really exciting to me about being able to lead a team of people and have them execute your vision. There's something really cool about that. So directing is definitely something that I would love to explore throughout my career as well.
See, I call that listening beyond sound. Like when you can sit down and listen to a song and you can hear every single musical instrument. And it's just such a great place to be when you can really separate things and then bring it all back together.
It's really fun. I mean, I agree with you. It feels almost like completing a puzzle in some type of way, or the same feeling as like conquering an escape room. There's something particularly with directing, and I like to practice it whenever I help friends tape auditions and stuff like that. There's something really satisfying and cool in being able to give somebody a note or ask them a question to prompt them to think of something in a different way, and then once the camera starts rolling, you see them execute that exact thing that you were trying to get across to them. It's just, to me, it's so satisfying and so fun. I don't know, it feels like it's your baby in a way. You know what I mean? Like you're raising them in some kind of way.
Wow. What is a website that people can go to find out more about you, to hook up with The Chosen, to begin the journey? I realize that you said you guys are already doing season number 7 with number 4 starting on the CW, but where can they go to get caught up?
If you want to look anything up about me, you can find me on Instagram at Joey Vahedi. If you're looking to find out some more information about the show, just download the Chosen app. We have all the episodes on there, as well as a bunch of bonus features and behind the scenes content and stuff like that. And the show also streams on really any major platform that you can think of. We've got it on Netflix, on Amazon Prime. It's on Roku, on Peacock. And most recently, it's going to be on the CW September 1st. It'll be season 4. And hopefully we can get season 5 out to everybody as soon as possible, as we just finished filming that about a month ago.
I love it. Joey, you got to come back to the show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
100%. Thank you so much, Era. I appreciate it and would love to chat with you again sometime.
Excellent. Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll talk to you soon.